All right. Thank you for being with us today, online or in this room, in person. Can you share what is on your mind, deeply most in your heart, that you'd like me to cover today as a topic?
Freedom. Soul contracts.
Okay.
Worthiness.
Okay, hold on. One sec.
Gratefulness.
One sec. Okay. Okay, that's good. Nice. So, the very last one that was requested for the folks online, by the way, our song today was Shining Star. We don't play it when you're not online yet, but our song was Shining Star. Just a perfect tune. But the last word that was requested, the last concept, unity. But also, guilt and gratitude and self-love and worthiness, and soul contracts, freedom, several other topics, just so the folks online could hear a little bit of what you were asking for. And there's a couple others. So, one of those, whether it's guilt or soul contracts or worthiness, several of the ones requested, you could say are all falling under this concept of creating our own reality. That's kind of a popular phrase, man. You create your own reality, man. That's today, it's like the 70s. What sign are you, man? So it's kind of a buzz phrase, create your own reality. Humans, man. Okay. So this concept, create your own reality, most of the time what people are blurting out there ignorantly is really what we would refer to as manifesting or making your own reality. Don't use the word creating if it doesn't include God. I don't care if you sit there in some lotus posture with your, hand mudras and burning a candle. If you don't include God, it doesn't have God. No, but I am God. No, you're not. Not the one talking right now. The one that says I'm God and doesn't include humility and openness and surrender. The one that comes from the head going, I'm manifesting whatever I want. Yeah, you are. You're manifesting, which is very similar to the word infesting. He's just going right for it, isn't he? Always making friends. Well, but it's true. These manifestations, they're man's infestations, they're man's miscreations. If you don't have the humility of heart, you're not creating. Now call it do what you want with your life. I'm just saying, don't say it's one thing. If you don't include the creator, it can't be a creation. It's just like that. Well, I myself, no, you of yourself are nothing. You don't agree with that? That's fine. Then you don't understand Christ consciousness. You're thinking so individualized that it becomes the tantrum. It's just an ego. The one that thinks it's separate, autonomous, is just the ego that is absolutely thinking, what's the rebellion in God? We don't need God. We're just as good. That's the whole rebelliousness of the ego, which is fine. But just to clarify those two concepts, please, all of us, we need to know the difference between creating our own reality versus making our own reality. One of them is my own reality, which it sounds empowering, my reality, except you blame everybody for your reality not going very well. Creating my own reality. See, if I go into the word creator, I can't go into creator and blame anyone for my reality. Because I just said I'm the creator. Well, except when things aren't going well. No, you can't cheat like that. When things go well, it's me. When it's not, it's some other force outside of me. It doesn't work that way. So, and I understand it. We're all humans. We've had moments. We do have moments. We will have moments where we slip and kind of, but this isn't what I wanted. This isn't what I, requested. In fact, I just remember the team member, somebody sent in a request that we'll add to this list, and it's kind of in the same ballpark. But somebody said, tell me how and why things don't go well in my life. But don't you dare tell me that I created. It was somebody else then. What do you want as an answer? A stork visited trauma upon you. I mean, I'm making more friends again. I'm sorry, your request is going this way. But when you do talk about creating your own reality or making your own reality, I am not the one who's telling you who it's your fault. You should feel bad about it. I'm not saying that at all. I create my own reality. I make my own reality. But I can choose to create with God my own reality, right? That's a choice. And so I'm making my reality, but we are contributing as well. I can try to make my reality or create my reality to where there's 3 moons in the sky. But I looked and there aren't 3. You know why? Because we haven't yet accepted that as an option. Does that make sense? So there's an I that creates and there's a we that creates. Now, if I want to change life, the world, I can try to do it. Has to happen. I and we. We're the ones that combine to bring about our reality. But remember, there's one of them is I, which I can change my reality. I can work on my beliefs, or ours. If I can change our beliefs, we're changing everything amazingly, right? The whole world. When lots of people, millions are changing, look what happens. Millions were affected by one guy making his reality. In Nazi Germany, another guy comes along, say Jesus, and creates a reality by affecting so many people. Which one is easiest? Start with yourself. Instead of waiting for everybody else to agree that life should be different, you better just start with yourself. Get yourself into different belief systems. Get yourself into believing in abundance. Get yourself into but you can't go into the better world, a better life, without plucking out the other beliefs that are in the way. So once upon a time, we were, just tucked away in God. It's fine. We're co-creating with God, a space of love and peace and bliss and joy. But when we thought we could separate from God, something happens. But the Bible describes it, and think about this. It describes it as in the beginning. So the Bible's telling us God created the heavens and earth. It says, but no, actually what it says before that, it says, but before that there was a void, an emptiness. And God was moving and waiting for something to happen. I'm just paraphrasing. So there's this emptiness and a void. And then God created the heavens and the earth. So that's what it's saying. This is describing Genesis. I mean, it's an important part of all sacred teachings. Found in the Bible, found in the Torah. It starts off, in the beginning, there was this emptiness and a void. And then God created the heavens and the earth. Now, this is really important for us because in part what it's saying is this thing called the void. The Creator God can't live in a void. So in the beginning, going back over that, in the beginning, I'm talking about you. In the beginning was God, and that's your upper 3 chakras. Then there was a void, that's in your heart, and then God created, and that's your manifestation, your lower 3 chakras, the world that you see. Does that make sense? So there's the God, the void, and the manifestation. So when we read in the Bible how God created the heavens and the earth, it's also telling you how God created you. But it's also saying, since you're a co-creator, this is how every day starts for you. Oh, you woke up in the morning. In the beginning of my day, there was a void. That doesn't sound real hot, cool. Yeah, I woke up with such an emptiness today. It was amazing. You're not supposed to feel an emptiness, but something happened between heaven and earth. Now, A Course in Miracles calls this place, which, by the way, your heart and soul. This is the place of beliefs, not of thinking, emotion, or action, lower 3 chakras, not the place of beingness in God. This is your beliefs. All you have to do to have a better life is open your heart to believe in God. Do you see the mannerisms with the hands, how they happen? I need to open my heart to this. God who am I? God, what do I deserve? God, what would you have me do? Just open this thing to funnel this thing that is God. So that you could say, in the beginning, there was a void, and then the void was filled with the presence of God. Oh, amen. Then we're good. No. Instead, in the beginning, there was a void. And then it's talking about, and God was moving upon the face of the deep. You know why? Because every day, God is waiting for you to invite it in. It just hovers. It just hovers on the face of the deep. What's the face of the deep? The void. Where's that? In my heart. Welcome God in. Well, I was thinking about doing that. But then I heard this other opinion. This voice that said, no, God, really? That abstract thing? We need to deal with practical issues. We've got to get you a new job. We've got to get you a new lover. We got this and that. We've got to deal. Oh, we got so many issues. Do you really want to bother Santa Claus? God, with your grocery list of things you think you want? That's a superstitious God, man. Forget it. Let's deal with the here and now. I'm your friend. Really? Oh, okay. Now, in my ridiculous heart that doesn't know anymore, this is the knowing of God. This is the believing. Knowing knows. Believing, Think of the word. Some days I believe, some days I don't. This is mutable. It depends on my choice. Free will exists in your heart. I choose God as my guide. And then the ego says, fine, you're going to be that way, huh? You're going to be stubborn? I'm trying to tell you that's not practical. Science, religion, government, these three unholy institutions are going to tell you, stop believing in these hypothetical things. Come on, get in the here and now. Believe science. Believe religion, whatever. It's going to tell you these things, but they don't do anything for us. They don't seem to come through. So I'm trying to believe in you, God, but I was like, okay, I'm going to start with God. Om, and I went, and when I had my Cheerios, I was Om, and I did this in holiness, and I blessed myself with holy water before I walked out there. And I got a flat tire. Where were you, God? And it's like the ego's going to go, I told you. Where was God, then? Now, if you follow me, I've got some plans. I'm the practical here and now advisor. Here's what you got to do. Find out who left a nail on the street. Sue them for your flat tire. Get revenge. Get back at everybody. Come on, man. You matter. I do. My counselor was just telling me that. I need to fight for myself. Look out for number one. All these great sayings, which means look out for your ego, because the one you're talking about is the reactive one. It's not easy for me to say, wait a minute, create my own reality. That means there's only me. The world's a hologram. Where did the nail come from? Somewhere in my mind. Oh, how are you feeling about that? I don't feel very good about the fact that flat tires came from me. 5 marriages came from me. Death of a loved one came from, oh yeah, I'm feeling really empowered now. That's because your ego is fighting so hard to keep you from understanding this concept of responsibility that results in, I'm here now. Powerful. It's an incredible thing. Creation, bless you, creation has to flow from the God I am to the heart I believe to the manifestation of God is. And now, I get it. But it's not only as long as you get what you want. Man, I believe in this manifestation thing. I constantly get what I want now. It's not. It's more like a smile. Like, isn't this funny? I'm dating someone. They're me. You see? Oh, and I got a raise at work. It's me. There's a little black spot on the sun today. It's my soul out there. It's me. Oh, and I got a raise. Oh, that's me. Oh my God, it's weird. Oh, somebody ran into my car, dented it. Wow. But to smile and realize I'm watching a holographic movie. It's incredible. It's not always easy, but I wouldn't recommend you try to make yourself believe this. I would ask you, yes, do that, but add, and God, show me how. Teach me about this. Teach me how to stay in this center instead of, wow, it really works as long as I get what I want, but something triggers me and now it's not me, it's them. Show me how to really understand this. And then smile and give thanks every time you pull it off. Every time you pull it off. When you talk, you asked about guilt. This is a human condition that the ego wants to oppress us with. Guilts and shames. But they're just me. They're just mirroring parts of myself. I can remember incidents when I was a kid, things that didn't go really well. But what does that bring up? What can I learn from that? One example I've shared before, but coming up in a family where I absolutely didn't belong. I mean, I don't look like any of them. Clearly, it was one of those somebody left a basket on their doorstep, which is what one of my brothers was always telling people. A great sibling there. But anyway, I didn't look like him. I didn't act like, nothing. Nobody ever looks at me. I remember my sister introduced me to like a boyfriend or a husband or whatever he was. This is like many years ago. She said, this is my brother. He's like, no, it isn't. She's going, what do you mean it isn't? I'm introducing you. This is my brother, Michael. Come on, you guys. No, he's not your brother. She's like, what do you mean? And I said, okay, I'm gone. I left and he continued arguing with her. And she couldn't convince him. And he says, he's not like all uptight like you people. That's what he said. He doesn't look like you and he doesn't seem to be all uptight like you. I was talking to the visionaries who were in Medjugorje seeing Mother Mary over this, decades. And one of the gals, one of the children, they were probably late teens at the time or mid-teens, but met her and she asked if I would go to her house to sit with her family and talk to them. And I'm like, well, of course. People don't usually have that great opportunity. So I went. And, she's talking to me and she's speaking a foreign language. So we had a translator. But the thing was, she said, where are you from? And I said, America. And she's going, no. And I said, yeah. She's like, no, Americans. And you. So it's a compliment when people say, you don't seem like a human. I'm saying to any of us, take it as a compliment when people say that. You're like, oh, thank you, I've been working on that, to disassociate with all of them, start with family. But anyway, but these things are reflecting parts of ourselves. So why this family? Now, as a child, why? Why can't I fit in? Why don't they like me? Why? That's ignorance speaking. Not bad, not evil, just human ignorance. Like, why? What? How come I'm treated so different? See, that's heartfelt human pain. Why? What is it? A decade later from asking as a teenager, it's, oh, I get it now. I'm not part of them. I'm not part of that. Not because I hate and push away from them. No, just I can see it. Light workers are usually the black sheep of their family anyway. You don't fit in, but not because they're bad, you're good, or vice versa. It's, oh, I get it now. They're a unit of that, and I don't identify with any of that. Let's pretend, which they weren't, but let's pretend they're all into drug addiction, and I'm not. Why would I want to get into that to be accepted by them? What is speaking in me to need that? In the beginning was a void, an emptiness, the Bible says. Oh, I'm identifying with my emptiness instead of the knowing of God, because it doesn't say God created until after there was a void and an emptiness. So and that's Genesis, which means the start of our separation from God, the start of our day, every day, the start of this service, every new thing in your life starts, there's a void. And here's what's happening. The universe says, good morning, how are you? I'm doing great. What would you like to put in the void today? And when we say, I don't know, nothing, the same old, and so it is. You have to hire something new to fill that void. You have to take responsibility as a co-creator. Oh, I know what I want to put in this space. Your presence, God. And we learn to get to a place of, and I will settle for nothing less. The presence of God, which doesn't mean, okay, now we walk around, like mystics and monks and nuns, I'm just so connected with God. I didn't say that's the end. I said there's still another step down from the knowing I am to the believing I am or misbelieving that I am not. Who are you? Oh, well, kind of, alone and single mom. And I've been married several times. I used to be an addict. These are all identifications that have nothing to do with God. And whatever I identify as, that's what I will see in the outer world. Why? Because the outer world reflects. It's a hologram that reflects our belief systems. Is that all making sense? Even codependent relationships. I mean, what is it mirroring? I'm not enough, so I have codependence. I'll even bargain with somebody to be in my life. Hey, I'll earn the money if you'll do this. Just tell me I'm lovable, man. Just tell me I'm wonderful. Something, some ego stroke. Transference or projection are the general rule for almost every relationship. Until you create a holy relationship with someone, it's always going to be transference and projection. You're either I need to make myself feel better, transference, which makes you feel good, but be careful because it's coming. The day you fall off that pedestal. Finally, someone who gets me. We all want to feel getting. But one day when that person doesn't get you anymore, they fall to the other category. I decided to project on you. I used to have transference. That was kind of a nice experience, lasted a week and a half. But now I'm shifting you over into this other category because I thought you were a cook. When we hooked up, you're like, oh, I love cooking. You didn't say it was any good. You're right. You just said you love doing it. You burn everything. I guess you'll love that. But I thought it meant someone's going to feed me. So I married you, and what do we have? A burnt relationship. I want to get someone who will cook for me. That's an arrangement. Hire them. Go and hire and pay them to be your cook. It's tricky because we project. I missed something in here because in the beginning was the void. In the beginning of every moment, we identify with there's an emptiness that can only be filled by God. Why can it only be filled by God? Because God is all there is. To think that you can fill it with anything else, we're actually deluding ourselves. Yeah, but where's God? I mean, at least someone shows up. They're there. I can say, okay, well, I could be filling my heart space with God, which is invisible, abstract. I can't, always know how to get that to happen. Or someone who shows up. And, oh, I like that. They're right there. It sounds tangible. But all you'll be doing is trading them for the next and the next and, little hologram. So we go into these cycles when you asked about self-love. Even me providing myself with self-love doesn't work because love comes from one source, which is God. So self-love can't even be complete without first God love. Inviting in the presence of God's love, then allowing it to fill my heart, now I have a sense of self-love because my cup runneth over. God's pouring into me love, and now it's becoming integrated in myself. And my primary mantra, other than calling God's presence in, is my life, I choose what's healthy, what seems healthy to me. It's not about drugs or alcohol or dating, it's healthy or not healthy. That's all. Go by that. Use that compass. Does this feel healthy for me, mind, body, and soul? Use that simple criteria, that simple barometer. Where's this at? And, what are you looking for? Instead of God, who do you want me to marry? God's like, what? That's all. That's it? That's what this all boils down to? Love me, love yourself, and then measure everything by that love. If something doesn't support love for me and self, it's probably not the right decision. And we're like, no, it has to be more complicated than that. Okay, never mind. Do it your way. Thanks. Then you go and, oh, there's a good looking person. Oh, hey, what sign are you? I'm just feeling my guides are like telling me you're the one for me. Really? My guides are saying that too, which are just two dysfunctional groups of guides. And then my guides are saying the same thing. We should, And then you do, and you're like, God, why did you lead me to them? God's like, no habla inglés. I'm out. I'm tapping out, man. This had nothing to do with me. But you let it happen. No, I was the voice screaming. Don't do it, So in the beginning of every day, I revisit this place of emptiness. Now some people are going to go, oh, this guy, I don't like this guy. I'm looking for an empowering teacher telling me that everything I think, say, and do is right. Perfect. I can never make mistakes. Then go. It's fine. Change channels. Please. This is just the truth. That we have a side of us that doesn't want God. That wants self-sabotage. Why? Only simply this. Because we've decided that we're no longer lovable. We're flawed in some way, bless you. Whether we're flawed because we left God, whether we're flawed because I got 18 marriages, whatever the flaw, the fact that you reincarnate. Why do you reincarnate? You don't usually sign up for reincarnation based on how cool everything's going. It's usually there's lessons to be learned. Well, if you're so together, why would there be a lesson to learn? Guys, it's okay. I'm not saying bad things about us. I'm saying honest things. Isn't it funny? God says, you are my beloved child in whom I am well pleased. And we believe, I don't know. I've got some doubts about that, Lord. Whichever voice you listen to is the one you're going to see manifesting. That's what it boils down to. That's a tough one because some people are going to say, wait a minute. My life has been horrendous since birth. How could I have made that? Listen, God tells Job in the book of Job, when Job's going, how could I have messed up? I've been a really good person all my life. God says to him, I knew you before you were Job. Which means, yeah, you are a pretty good person in this lifetime. You're right. A lot of horrendous things started even in childhood, but oh my God, let's look back 3 lifetimes ago. It's like, and that doesn't mean you should take on guilt and shame. You're not the one that was bad that now has bad karma. We all screwed up many lifetimes. We've all killed in one lifetime or another. No, not me. I'm just all sweet and loving. Oh, knock it off, Libran. Listen. That's a compliment. That's my favorite sign. But anyway, no, man, we've killed. You've slept with everybody. Cosmic hoe, I call it. You've been around. Sorry, come on. I'm a vegetarian. You've eaten meat. You've slaughtered the animal and ate it right there raw. You've done everything. And it doesn't matter because this is a dream. It's a hologram. You just dreamt. I wonder what life would be like if I were a psychopath. And then you came in. You figured that one out and you came back and married one just to kind of level it all off. I'm not saying all your husbands and wives are psychopaths. I'm saying it's what we do. If you've stolen, you will be stolen from. An eye for an eye. It's not the end of the world and it's not a warning. It's just where you sit back and go, I get it. Buddha was asked, why did we go to that town and people were throwing rocks? You're the Buddha. If you're so enlightened, why are naughty things happening? What did he say? Because I've done things in other lifetimes and it's just coming back. All you have to do is not react to it. And you neutralized it. He said it. How is it okay there? It's true. We messed up. We've stolen, we've taken, we've hurt, we've been selfish. And this world is just going, here's where you've been. But who's doing that? God? No. The ego's going, don't you dare try to change your life. I've got records. I've got records, man, signed in triplicates that you are you've done naughty things. And you have to say, go ahead, plead your case. I'm changing everything. Because guilt and shame are not my trip anymore. First of all, for me to feel guilty and ashamed, that's trying to usurp God's role. God says, I made you in my image, and you're saying, but I'm not that anymore. I've changed. God says, what I create is eternal, and you're going, yeah, but not me. When you want to believe in guilt and shame, you're actually trying to compete with God. So why do it? I don't know. That's okay. Speechless. That's a good thing for a change. And then stop, and that makes sense. Now, look what just happened. In the void, I don't know if I'm really that good anymore. But I stopped and I said, God's will, and you know what happened? And then the hand of God moves upon the face of the deep, and God created the heavens and the earth. What did that mean? God plugs me into heaven and started manifesting a new me on earth. Isn't that beautiful? Just from me going, okay, I don't know. Show me. You have to invite the hand of God in to co-create this new experience. So into my heart, it's like, oh my God, wow. Wonderful feelings, not things yet. Feelings. Allow those feelings. And your ego's going to say, how dare you? It's arrogant to think, really? You're one with God? Now watch this. You're one with God? Really? Okay, well, we'll see about that. And then you'll, just be hanging out with some friends one day. How have you been? Oh, good, and so how have you been? And you say, I'm just working on my oneness with God. And no, wait, what? Oneness with, who are you? We're all sinners. And we're told that we're all sinners and we're all going to hell unless you have baptism in Jesus Christ, blah, 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 blah. That religion, another one. And they're going to attack you. And all you said was, I'm just working on oneness with God, but you slipped it. You know why? Because it's ego trying to take a doubt you still have and project it outside to go, how dare you? And often you and I'll have panic attacks and I can't sleep and my digestion is all off because somebody attacked me. But there is nobody. They're a hologram. They're you saying, how dare you? I suggest you have an answer. It's simple. Of myself, I'm nothing. I'm not telling the world that I'm a holy one with God being. I'm actually just letting God's will, and that's what God says. See? You fight with demons. How dare you invade our space? You're right. It seems kind of lack of boundaries. Sorry. To impose myself on your hell. But I have the papers. God said, who are you to question us, God said. Try that. Who are you to try to heal somebody? Of myself, I'm nothing. That doesn't mean I'm humiliating myself. It means of my separated self, the one you're attacking, I'm nothing. And if I'm nothing, then you're not able to really get anywhere attacking me. Who has the right? God and the Christ within. That's why so many people successfully heal in the name of Jesus Christ. Unfortunately, they're thinking it's the name of the guy with a white robe that lived 2,000 years ago. They're not understanding yet that Christ that was, I am. It's the Christ in me, Jesus himself. It is not me who does this, but God through me. Now, if he says that, and he says everything I've done you'll do, then why don't I do that? When we try to play hyper humble, it's just a ploy. God created you in its image. You don't have to play falsely humble. The only real humility is the one that says, not me, but God. Real humility doesn't put yourself down and I'm not worthy and I'm unlovable and so on. But these things appear in the courtroom of life around us to show us how we're doing. When you say, God, I've never had prosperity in my life, so for the first time, oh my God, I'm going through a divorce. I decided, I should just allow a fair settlement. Then this other side's going to go, well, really, no, man, you should just let it all go and show you're unattached. That's not God speaking. And you'll know because once you do that and can't pay rent, I probably should have asked for a little more. So it's not God that puts you in that position. Maybe your intentions have been good in those areas. Sometimes it is. But at some point you say, I'm manifesting prosperity and a miracle happened. God, I was given $50,000. This is amazing. God, thank you. You've shown me because somebody plugged in. You got 50 grand. Good. Often what happens is in the mail, you get this envelope and it has 3 initials, IRS. And then here it comes. And you open it. You owe $50,001. because you got to go in the hole. You can't even break even. When that happens, it's not the IRS is the bad guy. It is, and even your ex who threw you under the bus to leave you with that bill. This shows how much I don't yet believe I deserve. Is that easy to think? No, I don't think it is, guys. I really don't. In the moment, I'm hurting. I'm not like, well, let me philosophically approach this. No, I'm hurting. In those moments, it's sickening what happens to us inside and out. But you ask, I could see peace instead of this. You know, I remember 40 years ago, I was on a flight to on tour, a flight somewhere, and I was sitting and I was listening to music, and I'm not a musician in any stretch. You know, I couldn't play one chord if you asked me to, seriously. But I can hear and I can figure, mentally, I can figure out the notes of what's happening. So on planes, I would put on headphones and listen. And, you know, and my hands are kind of doing this on the little tray in front of me, and I'm just listening. It just happens. That's what happens. I just follow with my hands like that. And this guy taps on me from one row back into the other side of the aisle. Hey, are you a musician? I said, no. He goes, no, I'm watching. I said, no, it's just, you know, what do you say to a stranger on the plane? Yes, I'm channeling. So I'm starting to channel unkindness on a plane. It's not good. So I'm like, yeah, no, you know, and he tells me, and then he says, oh, can we talk a little more? He said, sure. So he moves up a row and sits next to me. And I never forget that he said, he was so like mystical, just mystic-minded. But he brought up this concept of you want something, it starts to manifest, and then it's gone. And he was talking, I think, about like a favorite instrument he always wanted. And then he was getting it, and then it didn't happen. And he said, you know, and he goes, you know what I said? I just went, good one, Lord. That's what he said to me. He goes, I just went, good one, Lord. Like it was a test about attachment. So if you are afraid of attachment, you're going to manifest it's there and it's gone. Someone else who doesn't have the same lesson might not manifest that. It's very strange, this concept, because it's making our own reality, but then there's creating our own reality. And if I get attached, I'm going to shift from creating to making, because my mind, consciousness, vibration level switched to a lower vibe. Now I'm going to be part of this world and its tests. You see? It just keeps, you know, mirroring back to us. Whether it's, well, why? You know, why can't I be treated the same as other siblings? And it's because I'm not part of that. Now, do you think you'd tell a kid, a 14-year-old, that would have hurt their feelings? Well, you're actually not part of this. God could have appeared. Michael, how you feeling? Oh, terrible. Why am I not included? Because you're not part of them. Even you are just telling me, oh, you're not part of it. You know, I'm just alone in this world, which is why you sometimes don't hear answers to things you're asking, because we wouldn't like what we hear. Because if my mind thought, I need an answer to tell me why and how can I be included, and God was saying that's not the direction. So if that's the direction of the answer I wanted, how am I going to hear the answer? Was God going to lie to me? No. So now, silence. And then one day it's like, oh my God, because I never was a part of that. Never really. The needy child wanted to be, because the void once filled and it's desperate. Fill me. Tell me you love me. Tell me you'll never leave me. Tell me, you know, fill me. Fill my heart with something. Right? That's the stuff we get into, because we think the answer is anything that fills the space, I feel whole. It isn't anything. It isn't trying to fill it from this world. Only God. So it took me a while to realize I'm not here to be part of that. I'm here to be part of this. And I swear, I'm not trying to be, you know, boasting or cool. I've never looked back. I've never, since then, went, if only I would, guys, if only I would have been part of that family, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. And I can honestly say, and I wouldn't have been happy. You see? So there's a reason for everything. Who we're manifesting, and it's, things happen. Careful not to take things too personally. It has nothing to do with God beating you up, but it does have to do with you seeing reflections of what's going on in your life and how you're feeling inside. What I see out here has to be believed in here. Understand that for the co-creating a new life, or, creating your own reality or making your own reality. You can't manifest, even making things can't happen if you don't believe in them. Whether it's ego-based manifestations or God-based creations, neither can happen but by your own beliefs. It has to be, because the universe isn't by chance. It is a hologram of us. So how could it not be somewhere in here? And I know that that's not easy to hear, because some of us have had terrible abuses. But if I did, this isn't based on like you wake up one day and say, hi, like you're on Jeopardy. Could I have abuse for 20, Alec? It's not like you woke up and asked for abuse. You don't have to ask for the things that have gone wrong in your life. You don't have to literally ask. All you have to do is a certain uncertainty of who you are, any doubt, any shame, any guilt of the past. What if in a previous lifetime I have taken someone else's partner, and now in this lifetime I'm like, God, I'd really like to find a wonderful person now. And you get cheated on, and it breaks your heart. It can't have happened if some part of you didn't say, I really don't deserve, this is too good to be true. You see? It's too good to be true. That belief system is enough. I don't have to actually think, I want somebody to hurt me today. All I have to do is believe even slightly, I'm unlovable or I don't deserve some little thought. And we have to learn. You're constantly in the courtroom. A Course in Miracles calls this place right here in the heart the battleground. What a weird thing. Is that what you hear, people at your local drumming circles call it? Hey man, what have you been doing? I've been really getting in touch with the inner battleground. No, that's so aggressive. Battleground. Oh, and some of them actually freak on you when you use words like that. Let's go to battle. Oh, oh my God, man, too intense. Why do the great ones call this a battleground? It's not because it's trying to impose, or push the concept of violence. It's because in battle, you try to take the higher ground. So you have to step up and say, you know what, my ego, it's been controlling the battle and I keep losing. I need to take back the higher ground. Why? So that I can say, okay, God, we're all set. Come on in. Free will means freely choosing something here today. And you're not freely choosing unless you're choosing God. Because if you're not choosing God, you're not free. You're bound by karma and belief and contracts. So you don't practice free will and keep doing the same thing. That's actually bound will, if you think about it. So there's this concept, and it's like the battleground. The ego has taken over my heart and soul. The battleground isn't Gettysburg. The battleground is called my heart and soul. My belief systems. There's a town called belief systems. And the ego took it over. And have you taken it back? Oh, no, because I don't want to make my ego angry. I don't want to upset anything. Because you're going to be, if you step up and say, that's it, I'm home. Oh, it doesn't go well. That's why the Christians will say, when I started finding the Lord, Satan started really attacking me. That's their terminology for the same thing you would hear in psychology. Addiction starts to speak louder when you try to. The worst moments of heroin addiction is when you stop. It's when, addiction of any kind. You might have some ups and downs for sure. Stopping is the first problem. It's painful to say no to the ego because it's going to throw every contract, everything at you. You don't just stop drinking. You also lose friends that keep drinking. So that's a bit of an inconvenience. And then you met this glorious partner that you get stoned with, this one time on a flight, this guy's, I swear to God, I mind my own business. I'm on a plane, I put headphones on, and I read. That's what I do on every flight of all these years. But it happens. Somebody... Yes, hi. Nice, I swear. It happened all the time. One time I was editing one of my books I wrote on sacred sexuality. And this guy next to me, oh, what's that? And I'm like, well, let me start explaining, One time, this couple behind me, look, honey, look, because it said something like, one of the chapters, whatever it was, taking sex to a new level or something. He's like, look, honey, see, I told you. I'm like, I'm just editing the material while I'm on a plane, and this guy's behind me, using me against his wife. Anyway, the one time the guy's tapping on me, and I'm editing that same book, strangely enough, and and it's, he says, well, I'm a Hasidic rabbi, and I'm like, I'm totally in trouble, I mean, it could. This isn't going to go well. But we had an amazing conversation, absolutely beautiful. Holy connection, holy relationship. And he was the head of a whole country, a certain topic of their work, but he was the number one person in their whole country that runs that specific category. And he's like, you must come to my house. I want you to meet my children. I mean, he was welcoming me into his family. He felt so comfortable. And I was like, so in awe and grateful for this beautiful connection. But everybody's mirroring things. I'm writing a book on this topic, just going in that direction for a sec, since I did. There's a center that was like one of my regulars. They were like, every time you come to this state, we want you here. When I wrote that book, we do not want you back. When I moved to Sedona, there were some board members, and one of them was like, we can't have him here. He wrote a book on sacred sexuality. And the other board members are, they're like, so what? And I said, here's what I'll do for that person. I think we're not going to sell that book here. And they're like, well, why would you do that? Out of respect for that person that needs me to not have written that book. Now, why would you give in to somebody like that? It's called love and respect. I extended that. Did they appreciate it? No. They stayed on the attack. They quit, moved on, and we started selling it at the center. Sometimes you give people just enough rope to hang themselves. No. But listen, because that's my soul out there. This person, we don't want you at the center. This person, guys, that's just me dancing with or wrestling with, depending on how you want to look at it, with the topic in here. I'm writing a book on this. I should have, I got to make sure I've combed out the tangles. And here's one, and here's one. And you come to peace with it. And you struggle with how to parent. And, there's moments, is it too much, too little? This is you're processing through. Whether you're a good parent. Well, my children said, who asked them? Well, I was asking them, was I a good, why? Did you not know? Know and believe, and it will be. I'm not saying don't ask for second opinions. It's okay to ask, but when you ask, remember, they're going to push your buttons and all your insecurities. Well, you would have been a great mom, except push, and then, I can't sleep now because my kids don't love me. Get clear in here. Talk to God about your doubts. Get them combed out with God, so when you approach somebody, you can ask from a more centered, stable, responsible, and mature place. Make yourself subject to the stuff of the world. Put yourself as a target and wonder why darts are hitting you. It doesn't make sense. Clean it up. Comb this stuff out as best you can. Why don't I have a partner? Because that's not where you're at right now, belief system-wise. But I do believe. I even say it every day. I believe I have a Listen, say it this way. Part of me believes I'd like a partnership, and part of me doesn't. Now, you're going to tell me I'm wrong? How could I be wrong? It's not happening. But which of those is stronger? I wish I had a partner. I wish I didn't have a partner, Which one's stronger? Whichever one's happening is the more dominant. Which wolf do you feed, as one legend says? But I don't agree. I do want one. Every day I crave it. I know. I know, I'm there myself. Every day we have these questions. Why didn't, and so on. You see? I've written several books, and I self-publish. We have our own company that prints and publishes them. By the time I wrote my first book, things were changing in the publishing world. That whole world was crashing, even though it was decades ago. It's not just now things are crashing with books. I'm saying they started turning at the time. A bunch of companies were writing $1 million checks to New Thought types of teachers. But when they realized they couldn't get their money back, they stopped writing checks. So I could say, dang, why did I only missed it by like 2 years. And when I say, but how did that happen? It's me. I've always said, I don't want to have one of those books that launches at a certain level and then they bring me on Good Morning America. I've always known that that's not my path. So I'm okay that I missed that because that's me. Do you understand what I mean by that? That's me. I deep down didn't want to go and do, I've been on all talk shows and these things, spiritual ones, but I've never wanted that other thing because I knew. And I've been there where you try those programs and they say, I've been to New Thought churches. Listen, we had a huge, great positive response. We want you to come back. Well, good, because I've always had success. And they'll say, we want you to come back. Okay, I've actually had a few of these places say, but could you not talk about God so much? Yes, seriously. It's ridiculous, but that's my soul out there. So I have to go, wow. So Michael, why are you questioning, is there too much God? I'm not saying when you question the answer is always this or that. It's for you. Figure it out. So if that church is a mirror of me, doubting whether I should so bluntly, the way I am, talk about God, I now have a question. It's not stop. Don't forget that. It's not don't. It's look at this and make a decision. I looked at it and said, God first, baby. And it took me to another level. You see? So when you have that thought, date, no date, God isn't saying don't or do. God's saying, I don't know. How you feeling about it? And it might be that, you might not be married because you have deservability issues. You might also not be married like with me and my family because you want some time to work on yourself. But if I'm trying to work on myself, but my friends keep telling me, no, you should be getting out there and finding someone and growing old together. Oh, okay. And you're thinking that they're right. They're not right. They're a voice. That's all they are. You have to decide which one's authentic and organic for you. And that's when you say to your friends, get behind me, Satan. No, you got to hook up. You got to like us. Why do you think they want you to? Because you're assigned to them about how horrible they're living. We need to stop the one night stands at a bar and you're saying no to partying. You're a symbol to them. But do they hear it? They need to sit, instead of guilting them into going out, wait. Oh, that's my own conscience saying that's enough. And the other voice, yeah, but you might be alone. Yeah, I'd rather be alone in heaven than hooked up in hell. It's probably a bumper sticker now, right? That's a weird one. You're not going to find it on a romantic website anywhere. So after God creates heaven and earth, it says, and then God said, let there be light. Now, when it says let there be light in Genesis, it says, and now there's a distinction between light and darkness. You know why? Because there's a void, and then we invite God's presence to help come in and create, and God says, let there be light. Why? So that I can start to see what works for me, what's healthy and what's not. Lightness from dark. Light from dark. Oh, there's the battleground because I'm going to fight now. Light and dark. No, wait. Through the battleground of the heart, remember, darkness has to fight hard to exist. All light has to do is be there. Darkness has to try to, darkness can't actually put out light. It can surround it, but the light's still there. So the battle here is actually resist not evil. The light I am already. I don't have to prove anything like we once thought. You have to admit you're a sinner. Now that doesn't sound very good, does it? When a Christian says, or somebody says to you, you have to admit you're a sinner before you can find favor in God. Instead of jumping to conclusions and saying, that's preposterous and A Course in Miracles and try to fight with them over it, you know what I would say to them? Yeah, I agree. Michael, you would agree we're sinners? I didn't say that, not in the way you mean it. But I'm going to agree. You know why? Because if I can agree with you, you feel heard and we now have a certain connection. Right? You think that I'm disempowering myself. How can they disempower me? I'm in charge. So I choose not to be disempowered when they say, can you accept that you're a sinner and do you accept Jesus? You know what I just heard? What I heard when you said that to me is, the only reason we're here is because we've sinned. But the word is not sin, it's a mistake. The only reason we're here is because we mistakenly thought we could separate from God. Do I tell them that? No. But I translate it. Man, if you want to grow spiritually, you better purchase an inner translator, universal translator, and let it translate. You know, when somebody in your life is going, and you never, and you always, and you know, this translator that goes, oh, I'm sorry, you know, yeah, I hear you. Instead of, you're wrong. Just universal translator. And you're a sinner and you have to accept Jesus. You're right, we made a mistake. We believe we're separate. And I have to accept Jesus means, and the solution is to remember that I am Christ as God created me. Yes, brother, sister. Will you pray with us? Absolutely. You see what I'm doing? Switch, because they're mirroring all this other stuff that's hanging around in the ethers around me, hanging around in my airspace. Yogananda said, you're not actually harmed by people as much as you think. You're actually, the hurts that happen with people is not as much they cause wounds as much as they rub up against unhealed wounds. That's brilliant. Brilliant if you think about it. The stuff is already here. They rub up against it and we get mad at them because that's normal. I mean, if I have a broken toe and you step on it, I don't go, beloved, would you please, you know, your size 12 shoe, could you just gently, you know, take it away and be in your space and I'll be in my space? No, it's out, blankety, blankety, blank. And then, oops, my bad, you know. But I was in pain. Well, the people that have harmed you could only have done so if they're in pain. People that are plugged into God cannot harm you. That's a fact. They don't go like, I feel so totally plugged in. Desert. I feel totally plugged in. You steal. You know, that's not how it works. Their pain is what's speaking when they're hurtful. And they're going after your pain and rubbing up against your wounds because somewhere in their being, they're going blood and they're a shark. So you can question, why are you biting me? Because I'm a shark. But why are you biting me? Because you're bleeding. You attracted me is what they're saying. Does that feel good? No, not until you get what it actually means. And then I swear, you start to smile more. Like, wow. Yep, makes total sense. Yeah, I've been here before. Yeah. You know, cop pulls you over, you can get mad and, oh my God, you're trying to make your quota. Now you made another friend. Lighten up. You know, I remember somebody who got a ticket, you know, and they drove this one street every day. And one day they just, you know, ran the red light and got a ticket. And the cops, you know, do you realize what you did? And he said, no, but I'm not waiting for that light. It takes too long. So if you want to park here tomorrow, you can give me another ticket tomorrow and I'll be here every day. This is what he told the cop. If you want, you just park here every day and give me another ticket. I'm not waiting for that light. So, making friends. But it's true. And he was saying it in a way that's kind of playful and light. You understand? It's like, it's okay. Don't hate them. Who is the them you're hating? They're mirrors of yourself. Again, I say it over and over. Not easy to hear this concept of they're mirrors. And just like in Genesis, the Gospel of John, I'm just paraphrasing, but in the beginning was the Word. What's the Word? In the beginning was the Word. That's Christ. But then it's telling us, and the Word was God and was with God, which means we're part of God, but we're also made, created by God. So there's this thing called the Word. The Word, they call Jesus the Word because the Word means Christ. So in the beginning was the Christ. And then it goes on to say, and nothing that was ever made was made but through the Christ, through you, through the Word. So the first part of the Gospel of John is telling you nothing can be made. And it says made. Why? Because he's talking about the material universe. Nothing was made but through us. Everything we see, every planet, every virus, every rise in the economy, every drop, every president, everything is exactly, and this is the thing, your family members included, they are not good, they're not bad. They're perfect, vibrationally. If you tell me I'm wrong because you don't like them, all I can tell you is it's not going to heal you, it's not going to change your life, just to tell me this is not true. Once you realize, oh, I get it, which is why you reincarnate, because you go to the other side, look at it and go, oh, I totally see it now. You'll come back and you'll try to work on it. But with the amnesia you get when you come in, which by the way is also not an accident. Can I go in with amnesia so that I don't remember my lessons, so that I can blame other people and perpetuate that? That's what we do. When you wake up, what is Buddha? Buddha, are you enlightened? Buddha, are you the Christ that we've been hearing about? Buddha said, no, but I'm awake. Like, oh. And then he starts describing the wheel of life and the wheel of karma. This happens because that, and our thoughts manifest. You see, he's got it, and he's just going, oh, you guys, I got this joke. I got to tell you. It's funny because we're all walking around acting like we're hungry because we, didn't eat. We're not hungry because as though food has power over. It's ridiculous. It's all a game. It's all just a game, and we're sleeping. And you learn to see through the game. And that can't happen without taking some of this responsibility. Again, the Word makes us already feel kind of weird, like yucky, I don't want to believe that everything was made by the Word. What about war? Us. Me and us. What about abuse? Me and us. But I don't remember I didn't say you dialed it up specifically. When we said, what would life be like if we're separate from God? The Holy Spirit said, and so it is. Every possible outcome of that question, the day we separated, everything was created, but by the Word, our words. What would life, so here we are, one with God, bliss, and then, I'm having a thought, I wonder, hey, Michael, what are you thinking? I see something's going on there. And we're all one. So immediately it starts downloading to the one Christ, children of God. And we're suddenly from I'm thinking to we're thinking, hey, I wonder what life would be like if we could be separate. In that moment, the manifestation, the Big Bang, the universe exploded into being, and not only linearly, every possible outcome. The person you married, the person you wish you would have married, is in there somewhere. All possibilities are blown into the universe, and where you are dimensionally, vibrationally, will be the one you dial into. You see? And even though I'm speaking in a group right here, maybe there's a sentence I could add right now and there's me not adding it. Both of those are here right now. Which one will manifest is the one you and I have already chosen. And that'll be the one that slips out. And there it is. But generally speaking, when I started my day, did I start and say, here I am? That's going to go one direction, the one that was the least good direction. And there's, if I say, here I am, and I believe it, it goes well. If I say, am I here? No, and I doubt it, it's going to go poorly. Whichever one I decided to align with, That's the direction it goes. So somebody says something cruel to you, react, hate, and you're going one direction. But in that same moment, there was another option. Well, after I've chosen poorly, you can always choose again. Sometimes choosing again, it instantaneously becomes miraculous, which would have been in the first place if you chose well, but you didn't, so now, boom, now you have a miracle. The time will come where you don't need miracles because you're no longer choosing anything but the consciousness of God, love. But in the meantime, oops, choose again, oops, choose again. And that's how we create miracles. Choosing again. Someone, seems ill. You don't accidentally get ill like it seems. Oh, somebody was sick around me and, I caught their virus. Yeah. Okay, that's how it seems. But you believed on some level that this is going to happen, and you allowed yourself to be open, and just the right person dialed it in. And you hate them for it. Now you're both in hell. To be able to recognize and say to them, like you would if you were Jesus talking to Pilate, you have no power over my crucifixion. You're only playing a part that I've already decided to give you. That's powerful, man. Do you say that to your exes who took everything? Sometimes, that's what happens. I know you think you're clever, and that you got everything in the divorce, but I had already decided on some level that that's the way it was going to go. Now, however, I've woken up. I did that when I was delusional, but now I'm awake. So even though I didn't get this and that, don't call me anymore. No trespass or whatever you need. I'm setting a boundary that I never did, if that's what you feel like you need to do. But are you listening? Are you just a victim of circumstance, or can you own that's me? Yep, totally. You see, that concept of, yep, that's totally, that just makes total sense. That's me. Owning what's happening. Wow, yeah, it totally reflects where I'm at. And if you're honest with yourself, you'd see there are clearly times where if you sat with it, things have happened in your life that really did make sense. They were congruent with your beliefs at the time. I don't have much self-love. Can you imagine anything in your life? Do you remember anything that makes sense? It came from I don't matter? Yes or no? Yeah, there you go. And there's plenty more. Don't fight it, just own it. Yeah, but I'm going to feel bad for a moment, you'll be tempted to feel bad. But even that is from you. Look at it and say, yeah, I see that, but no. Keep choosing again. That's not the track I'm going down. So in the courtroom of the mind, you don't fight it. You don't try to prove you're innocent. You don't try to accept your guilt. You just claim insanity. That's all you do. You just claim insanity. If I ever did this, if I ever, again, you don't say these to your exes or to your family members, but in your mind, it makes total sense. This completely dysfunctional family, that makes total sense. Because if I believed I was separate and had low self-worth, you people are the perfect example of that. If I was dysfunctional, ta-da, yes, it makes total sense. Now that I own that, I can retire all of you because I'm coming from a different place. So the words "not today" become a mantra. Oh, oops, yeah, that one slipped under the radar. Got it. You can go now. If you own the one, you can command the other. Because any hurt, loss, pain, etc., can only have been dreamt up, accepted in the part of me that is the past. It's not the present. It's not God. And so my future is free. It's not being dictated by the past anymore. And if you're willing to see that in yourself, please be willing to see that in others as well. Let them off the hook. No longer see them as men are always, you know how women are. Your mind starts to clear. I don't jump to skin color, gender, age, or whatever else. Who cares? Like it just starts to blow over and not become part of your reality anymore. Is all that making sense? All right. Please take a few centering breaths. And for a moment, just what did you hear? Just breathe into that. One of you asked about worthiness. Did I cover that? I'm pretty sure. Just think about it and you'll see it. Where does the value come from? The voice of the ego is the voice of my past, and the voice of my past is always rooted in, I separated from God. That makes me unlovable and unworthy. And then, voila, my life manifests that way. One of you asked about freedom or unity, and that's the opposite. I've decided to be free now. I don't know who I am. I'm asking you, God, to show me, to remind me. Are you worthy? Yes, according to God. I have doubts sometimes. Own the doubts, give them to God, and replace them. Just witness these thoughts. If these concepts feel true, there are a couple of sabotaging thoughts that can block this from coming through us clearly. To become a co-creator with God, we can't be a co-creator and simultaneously blame, hate, judge. We can't project or practice transference and wake up at the same time. The Word made everything that was made. And that means you made who entered your life, whether they were nice or not. Our job is to see what they symbolize because they're just symbols. People have projection, those are the people I blame for my life not being better. Transference can be, in its unhealthy sense, transference can be simply placed on people that I think make me feel loved. They make me feel seen. They don't make you anything. They reflect it. If you're feeling seen, just close your eyes and say, nice job. I'm learning to feel seen. Don't worship them for it. You can still thank them. You can still have relationship with them, but keep the power in yourself because that's where it's happening. You are changing. And there is a version of healthy transference, but it's seen for what it is. It's still transference. Jesus, a counselor, a healer, a friend, someone who's prosperous, someone you see great qualities in, but don't worship the qualities. Give thanks for what they represent. Breathe the quality into yourself and give thanks for that as well. So for just a moment, is there anyone over the last week or two or month or whatever that comes to mind? Let the Holy Spirit help. Bring into your mind anyone that you've projected onto. For whatever it was, whatever cause they were projecting, you were projecting onto them. They upset you or whatever, projection, anger, hurt. See it, but ask yourself, whether it's true or not that they did that, what lesson is there in you? What in you was susceptible? What in you created this lesson? It's deeper feelings. It's like patterns, core patterns, like low self-worth. I feel unlovable, undeserving. Just see it. Whatever it is, that one thought, that one core belief in you can manifest hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of reflections of that. This one belief could go on for lifetimes if you let it. Just see it. And just say, but it's not true. I don't hate it. I'm not fighting it. I see it. That's how you take the high ground. By simply releasing the images of the adversary. So let it be. It's just not true. Say the opposite to yourself, but I am lovable. I know that. God has decided. I am bright, intelligent, beautiful, or whatever it happens to be. Because God has said so. Own that. And give thanks for that. And one last, any act of transference. Putting your value on someone else. If they take it away, you're going to be hurt. That's what we mean. Putting that power in someone else's hands. We're not saying they took it or they're bad. Just the transference. Someone that helped you feel lovable, or they made a compliment, it really made you feel better. That's good that they did that. Thank you for that. Let it come to mind and say to them in the mind, thank you so much for showing me my value. My beauty, my deservability, my prosperity, etc. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Give thanks. It's right to do. And then just add, but you know what? I accidentally placed that all on you and didn't soak it in. The reason you made me feel valuable is because I am. Lovable because I am. The reason you made me feel worthy is because I am. And when I forgot that I am, I made you into you are, and that was putting us both in danger. So thank you, I am. To all such characters in our mind, God is, I am, and we are. All is well. Peace. Peace be with you. Say to all the characters in your mind that have come up, peace be with you. And so it is. Thank you, guys. Thank you. And remember, they're symbols. You see, they're symbols. They're just mirroring things. The voice, you could have 100 people, 99 that love you and one that doesn't. That one is a voice. It doesn't mean you have to tolerate abuse from them, but restraint and boundaries, yes. But don't end it there. Bring it back to, and what do they represent to you? We're going to do our collection and closing prayer, and then we'll be done for today. But take this with you. You know, look at your world, look at your life. Don't overly take it on as a burden, per se. But, wow. And at the end of the day, here's what you do. If there's 10 people in your life today and one is a voice of kind of rude or hurtful or whatever it is, just remember this. If you keep it at that level, you're both dragged into hell. What you're supposed to be doing in your awakening process is learning to do this. Brother, sister, it is impossible for you to be what I'm seeing you as right now, because their divinity doesn't do this. So you say to them, even if it's a sick person that you're working with as a healer, your job is to say, despite the way you're behaving or speaking, I invite you to join me in heaven. I invite you to join me in a holy relationship. And that it's a cool thing, because that person, no matter how much they do, that's the doing. That's not the being. This isn't pretend. This is, brother, sister, right now I imagine us standing together as equals in heaven. And we're both at peace. That person somewhere out there, wherever they are, this world or another, that person is going to hear it and feel it. They're going to know that somewhere out there, someone's saying a prayer that shifts them along with you. You're never healed alone. So bring them, affirm that they're home with you. Now, I know that's not easy, because sometimes it's like, well, no, I don't want them home with me because they're mean. I want them somewhere else. But the problem is you go there with them. So, let's go home together. Tell those people. And you still have day-to-day things. Join with me in heaven, and I still might have to say no. I still might have to say goodbye. I still might have to, shut the stove off with burning food. Take care of the practical things. But it's all okay. There is all dimensions, all possibilities of anything that could ever have happened is all here with us. And when I choose again, I start to get the right to experience the fruits of a different choice. What if I am still as God created me? And that starts to happen. Sometimes instantly, and sometimes it might take a moment, because it might influence people around that are not allowing that into them. So I might need to not attend this group anymore, or stay married anymore, or whatever it happens to be. If your partner always burns the food, you say, I have an idea. I'll cook. You've been so great for 20 years. Oh, I just feel like it's my turn to give. And, put it all very tactfully. Oh, no, stop. Don't you dare go in that kitchen and start cooking. Let me do it, you goddess. You go and sit. I'll be in to rub your feet too. As soon as I got things up, make it look good, guys. Let's do our prosperity blessing. If you don't know the words, it's printed online, but it's also on your bulletins. And we'll say together, please, divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Thank you. It'll only take a minute or so. It's such a tricky thing, this mind, the mirroring. One time, I chipped or something, a tooth back here. And it was a product that I bought in an airport because I was always traveling. So I bought something, my lunch, in one of the stores at the airport. And it was something in it that wasn't supposed to be in the bag, and it chipped a tooth. So I had to have it fixed. But the way this goes is they'll say, okay, they're going to reimburse you for fixing the tooth, right? And then sometimes they say, and if there was any pain and suffering, we're going to give you an extra whatever, right? But I felt, but there's no pain and suffering. It's a chipped tooth. They just fixed it and we're done, right? Oh no, but I'm told, no, you get pain and suffering. But I didn't feel right about that. That little chip, that little reimbursement they gave, and then the pain and suffering, I so didn't feel comfortable about it. That tooth made me suffer for years. Do you understand what I'm saying there? Because I was conflicted, and then it Now the tooth is going, oh, we've been inflamed forever because of that conflict. So you clear it and you bless it. It might fix and heal miraculously, because it would, because you change consciousness. And sometimes it'll play out for longer, maybe through this life. Your job, don't care about it. Don't feed it your doubts. Just say, we already got it. You're done. But that's an example of how our little doubts, they filter in. A clear pool of water, and even if you can't see it, one drop of red food coloring, it's already affected that pool of water. Capiche? You can't see it. Sharks can. If it's blood, they can sense it. See, there's a frequency. Your doubts, your shames, and they're yours. Does it make you bad or wrong? No, but they are there and they're yours. You might put on some makeup and then, think, God, so many people say that's vanity. And then you're putting on makeup that could cause you an illness years later because you carried that belief that that's vanity. Just ease up, lighten up. It's just mascara. No, not to you, because there's a belief. So we create these odd things, and then we inflate them into monsters, and they come back to get us. Just see them for what they are. Before we do our closing prayer, just for 1 minute, does anybody have something you can share? What did you hear or learn today that made the most sense for you? What had the most impact? Yes?
In the battlefield of my heart, how can I see things from a higher vantage point?
Good. In the battleground in my heart, how can I take the high ground, see things from a higher vantage point? Yes. Anyone else? And the meditation, by the way. Did you feel good with that one? Good. Oh, it's like we have mini workshops, it feels like sometimes here each Sunday. Yeah, soak in the gratitude, soak in the present, soak in what you learned. Please stand. Look to at least one, if not two people. Just, hand on your heart, if not two. Look at them and just say, peace be with you. Peace be with you. Peace be with you. Peace be with you. Peace. Peace. Good. Soak that in. The light of God surrounds us.
We are the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
We are the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
We are the power of God.
The presence of God watches over us.
We are the presence of God.
Wherever we go, God is, I am, we are, and so it is. Mwah. Peace be with you all. Thank you. Thanks, guys.